Hey, welcome in, cuties. Nice to see you here. Hope you're all having a nice Monday evening. I finally managed to release something and not only start different new things and never finish them over and over. So, some progress. If anybody is not aware, our cutie Mr. Trashcan is working on gantries and railway related stuff. I'm not generally the biggest rail enthusiast, but we're getting close to building out an area where we have a rail depot. So I'm gonna say as much as I'm very excited for those, because they will come in absolutely clutch in this area. Eventually, for now, this all looks horrible, but we finish a different part, and I'm very wholeheartedly, I think this turned out very nice. I'm not usually too proud with what I built, but I think this nice hillside neighborhood we built here, mainly to showcase our pools, and of course, Trashy obviously is onto something. But yes, we built this neighborhood with a lot of very detailed out backyards, and slowly finished this over the last few streams, which it took me forever. I think it makes sense if you see the backyards why this took forever, and it made for a very cute showcase of the pools we just put out. But yes, I consider this, at least these backyards here, finally done. I'm still so happy. I'm not even sure if you've seen this yet, Trashy. Look what I finally gotten my hands on. Gaga has been working on a cactus since a while. Is not finished yet. He's still tuning it and changing stuff and working on it. But we've gotten our hands on an early version of it, and goddamn, it makes the entirety of Los Vagos so much prettier. Like even just a garden like this one. Look at the difference these few small cactuses are making. I am very happy about these. I mean, to be honest, it makes sense because, like, I do think it's very tedious to actually box through a bit bigger packs. What I put out yet, or the things I put out so far, were all fairly small. If you want to dive in on, I don't know how many it is in total, 150 buildings, then yeah, kinda understandable. You need a while for that, so don't feel behind. Take your time. We all gladly wait for some proper quality. But yes, I'm not even sure if you've seen those yet, because you did see my pools, Trashy, right? Like, they are nothing special. It's really just pools. But I hate the pools. We had vanilla in the game, so I'm very happy with what we have now instead. These ones here. And did you also see the golf stuff I've been making? Because I also made this, which I don't think I'll use very much because I'm not really big into golf. But Konst was asking for a nice backyard golf court for this property, so I finally built out a cute golf course, which I guess most Cities players do in the first few weeks of their build. Took me over a year to get into the golf courts, but now we have it. And I was about to say, talking of the devil, now comes an interesting moment. I've seen people in my Discord call you Joe. Welcome in. I think you're called Jörg instead. Is that correct? At least being from Germany, I don't think you're supposed to be Joe. But welcome in, sir. Nice to see you here. And we can dive in and look at something together, because Joe has been making some very exciting breakthrough and has managed to get working networks in. I have not tried them yet. I've thrown them in earlier. I believe it's these. Because I did not have. Oh, you are actually Joe. So curious, because in Germany and I think many other Scandinavian countries as well. Jörg is a name as well, and you would write that pretty much exactly like your name. So I was not sure if it's Jörg or Joe, but thanks for clarifying. And I've seen a little spoiler of this because I was watching Moose play a bit earlier, and Moose was looking at some of these already. But wholeheartedly, I love this. And this is very exciting because this is actual networks. This is such a big game changer because, Joe, look at the reason why Gaga, for example, is so interested in what you've been finding out are these. Gaga has been making these safety barriers for a while. And obviously, it would be very nice to have them as functional networks. Right now, they're just props, which they work fine. We're gonna try the curve in a moment. Joe already said that curving is not entirely optimal and perfect. So I'm interested as well. Also, Maestro, look what is driving past here right while you're talking about it. Is that not a cute bus? Wonder who made this. But yes, these are the reason why Gaga is so interested in it, and obviously fences in general would be very nice. But first one we look at, beautiful already, and let's answer Maestro's question and see how they curve. I mean, yes, I'm not surprised about this. Even the vanilla fences sometimes are a tad buggy in curves. I don't think this is too bad, honestly. Yes, this means you need to pay a bit attention while you're dragging out the curve. I guess in specific angles, it's worse than in others. Have you, Joe, have you considered putting these out as props and as net lane? Well, Andy, have you actually seen the news about Cactus? Hold on, we're gonna go back to looking at Joe's stuff in a second. But no more making fun of me and not having a cactus. Because do you see this, Andy? There is absolutely no need anymore to be sad about not having a cactus. Well, I guess I am German after all. I'm trying my best to not make an absolute fool of myself while speaking English, but I would argue only somewhat successful. And yes, I know what you mean, Joe. With the curves, they are not optimal or super clean, but it really depends on the angle. Honestly, some of these are fine, even curved. And maybe I would argue in an optimal case, you would include a prop version and a network version of these anyways. Because, for example, if we look, if I think about how I'm playing the game, at least there will be situations. This actually is a good situation because if I imagine Gaga would have made the safety barrier only as network, I would still love those safety barriers. I think they're beautiful. But what I could not do is a cute scene like this crash we have here, where I have those individual parts and move them around. So wholeheartedly, I think one of the things you should consider is adding a prop version as well. Probably you consider so anyway, but just asking. And let me catch up on chat real quick. Also, welcome in, Andy. And I'm glad you can finally not bully me for not having a cactus anymore. Oh, actually, I do think I did not know that, Joe. That if you, yeah, wholeheartedly, then I can see why you're frustrated, because I also hate clustering the menu with too many alternatives. I think if you can use them with a picker, that is perfectly fine enough. That is all we need. I was not sure if we can touch those, because on the proper net lanes, that's not possible to pick them and just get the individual parts out of it. But if that works here, really nice. And this, wholeheartedly, I think this looks beautiful. So I'm definitely gonna use this. That is good to know. I actually don't want to do so right now because I want to see them next to each other as well. So I'm gonna go in. This one, I believe, is the lowered one, right? So this probably we cannot see correctly here, but we need some terrain like this, I guess. I mean, we can smoothen it, but I don't want to break this because it's my actual city, so I don't want to do too much nonsense in here. And obviously our sun position is not optimal for this. That's a lot better. And I see you're using the gra mesh here to get the overline. One thing I was gonna tell you to consider with a gra mesh, because I think the gra mesh is a great solution for this. One issue you will run into that I ran in with my golf stuff is, for example, surfaces, because some of the surfaces, like the one we're using here, they will not draw on it, which is not a big issue and not something you can do something about because it's just depending on what draw layer the surfaces have, but it's something to consider at least because I think it's a bit complicated depending on where you're working. Might be that people work with surfaces there, but again, it's not something on your end. But maybe makes sense to reach out to those people eventually to fix that up. Because otherwise you get this a bit weird effect. Without surfaces, I think this works pretty solid. Obviously, my terrain is horrible for this. That's why it looks so janky. But obviously, if you properly terraform, that would look a lot nicer. These I've seen in your screenshot. These I am personally really excited for. I'm trying to curve right away because the curving is most problematic. Yeah, I guess it really depends on the angle. Here they get a bit janky, and I guess in really extreme curves they also, but then in really extreme curves, even the vanilla fences are lacking a little. And from my understanding, Joe, this is still all not actual net lanes, but that middle ground solution you've been playing around with, right? Hi, Gaga. Welcome in. And Gaga, we're looking at something that you will find very exciting. I actually been talking about you and saying or showing your safety barriers, and while you'll be very interested in these, because I'm testing the net lanes that Jörg sent me, where he given the explanation in my Discord for how he made them as well. So this probably is something that you can try around with your safety barriers as well. Again, it's not perfect in the curves, but that's technical limitation, so not really something we can do about it. And I do think it still looks beautiful. And especially in straight pieces. Looks great. One thing that I realized that is very curious, I guess it makes sense if the element is too short, he's not putting any of the lamps, because these elements here also were the lamp ones. Some of them at least. Yeah, if it's below 48 meters, I guess, then we don't see the highway light, but obviously that makes sense because you space them out nicely. The fourth, this one is what you mean, the complex curve? And welcome in, Masa. Nice to see you here. We will see. We have not made it till here. We've looked at the first form, so I'm still working on it. The next one, this one, continuous curve, okay. Actually, I don't understand why it works so much better, but you're 100% correct. This looks a lot smoother. Like, yes, even this is not 100% perfect, but also my terrain is really unfair, right? We just randomly went into the middle of nowhere. So, this is not very fair terrain. If this would be flat, then this would look a lot nicer. But yeah, that's actually really surprising, because even very similar curves, they look a lot better with this tool. That's definitely something you should put in the description. I'm sure you plan on doing so anyways, but... Oh, holy... People will love these. People will absolutely love this. I have to admit, I personally, but I'm also a bit of a perfectionist in general, I think this has a little too much repetition for me. Very slightly. But then if I look at gray walls of many other people, they all have a lot of repetition. So I can guarantee you that you will see those in a lot of screenshots in the future. Wholeheartedly, great one. Yeah, this is gonna be a really nice one. Even if you're like me and you think it's a bit too similar, you can use this as a base and just work on top of it and still save a lot of work from it. So 10 out of 10. This is one of those again where we want some terrain. So I'm gonna move us over here. Yeah, it makes sense. These are all quays, I assume. Correct? Okay, so we lift this up then. I love this one as well. And with the manipulation mode, it's fairly smooth to work with those as well. Yeah, very nice. I like it. Again, with these, I guess it really matters that they're perfectly flat, else you'll get these weird kings, but that's not a Joe problem, or that is my skill issue. And even if we flatten it like this, it's looking... I was gonna say it's looking perfect, but actually, it's looking nearly perfect, which is very interesting because these line up 100% perfect. But yeah, very cute. I like all of them and wholeheartedly exciting because I'm sure after you shared how you made these, I'm sure more people will check these out. This, I guess, is only the gram mesh. In case somebody wants to build behind one of the other ones. Just in case we're missing something, I'm gonna lift this up, but I would guess this is just a gram mesh. You know what, Joel? I have a bit of a harsh ask for you. This should be really little work for you. Because this, again, I agree with Gaga, this is opening a lot doors and looks amazing. You guys see this terraforming, right? This is not terraforming we can do naturally, not this sharp, nothing the game will allow us to do. You should make a version without any mesh. Like, not even, I'm not sure if that's possible, but you understand what I mean, Joe? Just remove the gram mesh from this and use it as a terraforming tool. maybe that's just me, but if I think about Dutch builds in specific, or even German builds, we have a lot of these. I don't know how they're called in English, actually, but you guys know what I mean? The blockers for the ocean or tides. I think it's really nice for that. Wholeheartedly, can even just put a small pass here on the top. Absolutely nice tool just by itself without the grass mesh. But yes, obviously this is just for the grass mesh, so we can ignore this. I just was fascinated how the terraforming works, because wholeheartedly, this is really nice. This is absolutely not something we can do in vanilla. Yeah, dike. Dike is the correct term. Now you say it. I've heard that in the past as well. Again, excuse me, I'm not English. I'm trying my best to speak English, sometimes more successful, sometimes less. And this is exactly the same, just with twice the ways. These are great if people want to prop up something, so I totally get why they're in there. Oh, this is actually fairly. It's very interesting because I was gonna say maybe this is the better alternative, but I think both of them are nice because this one is a bit harsher. And welcome in, Bagnario. Nice to see you, mate. Yes, I was also thinking I would agree that it would work together very nice with the leveling blocks from Source Design. But yes, I do like this one, even though this is a very similar effect. This is a bit smoother, a bit more natural, still man-made, but not as cleanly man-made. This one is really nice if you want to build a lower tideway, for example, which I plan on doing in here later, so this will come in very clutch as well. Oh, interesting. Is that because I have a wrong... Why is this happening? Which rockway? You mean this one? If so, of course, but I'm not sure if this is the one you mean. Okay, okay. I was just wondering if this is a me skill issue or an issue of the game. Because often, if stuff is not working like it should, it's not a game, but it's me being incompetent. Oh, interesting. Okay, they are quite a bit higher. It depends a bit how here this is interesting. If you curve very harshly, you get to see where it's splitting. But then again, this is just because our curve is as harsh as it is here. If that curve would be a bit smoother, like it is in this side. So let's raise up these three here. Yep, see, here it's perfectly fine. That's just because our curve is a bit too extreme. You might want to overlap them, depending on how sharp you want people to make your curves. You might want to overlap them a tad more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes perfect sense. I don't think people will need them to be as curved as they are here. And here they work perfectly fine, so makes sense. If you have any input to explain them or something, that's a good question. I would assume not, but we can find out. No, I mean, it does make sense. But even with this, you can break up the repetition slightly if you go over. Honestly, while this is not a single stone, I think already this does some quite heavy lifting. And then obviously you can also take either vanilla rocks or rocks somebody else made and recolor them similar to work out. So yeah, very nice. Wholeheartedly, Joe. These are beautiful, and I don't even like them for how beautiful they are. I mainly like them for you being the first person to actually make something that's closely resembling a netlane. Also very nice. Probably want to add a shade smooth on these so they look a bit more round. Even though obviously you don't want more geometry than this, but already a shade smooth should make them fully round. Yeah, of course. I was wondering that right away when I looked at these, because yes, without question, from all of your meshes, all of these obviously very low poly and simple. I'm sure you did your best to keep this as low poly as possible. But yeah, without question, this will probably have as many twists as all the other ones combined, I would guess. So yeah, very, very fair point. These are really cool as well. I think especially for people who like building the race course. Because I know that especially Picana in his community, they love building race courses. And for them, this will be 10 out of 10. And you said your Joe, before I mix this up, you messaged me earlier that one of the networks you also want me to check out did not make it in your tab correctly. And you told me where to find it. I don't recall right now. Also, I'm sorry, but there is a 3-minute ad break starting in a moment. So maybe if you can't hear me for a moment, I'll go detail something for the meanwhile, and then we dive back in. But yes, very cool. Wholeheartedly, I think the most simple one, this one, I adore this. This is so nice for highways. All of the other ones are great as well, but I think my personal favorite is this one. I think. Oh, actually, now I recall. You said they were in the pathways. Yes. Okay. Actually, yeah. I see it. The mod that is probably causing your issue is the I don't know how it's called, but the UI mod that corrects where stuff is lying because it resorts all of the passes. So probably just reach out to that person and ask how you can avoid that. And these we all have to lift. Actually, we should be able to just lift these. Yeah, you get very, but again, this is probably because of my terrain being a bit unfriendly. Here you get very slight Z fighting, but only if I move the camera. When I'm holding still, it's not Z fighting anymore. And again, probably this would look better if we flatten this properly. Or even flattened perfectly, you get a very little Z fighting here. There is an ad break right now, so I'm not sure. I'm always confused with Twitch. Sometimes people see an ad, sometimes they don't. I'm never certain if you guys can hear me or not in the ad breaks. But yes, beautiful. And I'm curious, even with these, yeah, this is so nice, because even those pieces by themselves are really interesting to build stuff with. So being able to pick them, very, very nice. This way around, and I assume you guys can't hear me right now because of the ad break, but I can spend the time to at least prepare a second one already. Okay, Bam, it's so confusing because I do think with Twitch, it also depends on the region where you're from. And some people get more or less advertising because it depends where people book ads for. So it's always a bit weird for me to know what is going on. But yeah, I love these. The only thing is the Z fighting. Because I have to admit, in this one, it seems even stronger than in the other one. The Z fighting is slightly tilting, but I guess it's hard for you to fix that. Because I assume if you make the margin perfect and then the terrain is not perfect, you get small gaps. But it is very visible, especially during movement. I'm not sure if it's good question. We will find out in a second. Well, we can't apply to it, but let's find out if we can move them there. Maybe let's put some. Just need something there. Hold on. Science. Yeah, okay. I figured, and again, I do think that's perfectly fine if there is stuff that you can't impact, but it's a game issue, then I don't think you should bother with it. But yes, you can decal. You can't snap the decal to it, but if you line up something to put a decal and then we can heat this out, you can decal them. So, very nice. Especially with decals, I do think this looks very cute as well. It's not, if you want to see how this is done, Elgendo, you should look in my Discord where Joe has done a very
I
nice
wish we
write-up
had a
on these.
cactus.
So it is, and is very exciting. Again, they have some small issues, but that is not Joe's fault. That is the game not being ready for this yet. But very exciting, wholeheartedly. And I don't know why I keep going back there. These is what we want to check out as well. This one we've not seen yet. This one we've not seen yet. And then you said 5, so I assume there's a third one. There is the third one. Just to make sure that's it. That seems to be it as well. Yeah, what happened to Riza? Riza busy these last days, I guess. Okay, let's move these up. Oh, is this meant to... This one confuses me because the railing is here, so I would have assumed that I placed it the right way around, but your mesh orientation is the wrong way around. Or maybe you want it to be open and for people to be able to yeet themselves into the floor. Also looks great, like beautiful. Obviously, I'm sure you're aware of this having like still small issues. As in, we can see through it a bit too much. But outside of that, looks great as well. Especially if I imagine The railing is flipped. And these are beautiful. These I've seen screenshots of before already. These have these beautiful stairs. Don't. Why are these so wonky? I've seen you draw them prettier, where the stairs line up. Yeah, maybe it's me placing them wrong. Because I know that these look cleaner and better than the placement I have here. What did I do wrong though? How would you place them? And how do I flip the railing side? Again, this is absolutely a skill issue on my side, not an asset issue on Joe's side. But yes, really, these look amazing. I think they have a few issues. This is probably due to me, but there is a few small issues in them. But the other way around. Also here, so I guess I have to switch. Is this a quay or a retaining wall? I guess it should be a quay, right? So I should be able to. Let's see if this switches it wrong side. So the heck? This is probably again a skill issue, but I figured this is what you meant. Yeah, in all fairness, Joe, I also have a playset of 500, nearly 500 mods. I think I'm very short of breaking the 500 and a buttload of local assets. So this might very well be a conflict in my playset with something else. But yeah, of course, this is what testing is for. I very much agree. Many of my assets look very broken at the start when I first load them into the game and test them. So obviously, this is perfectly fine. But yeah, really exciting. Like alone, this being possible is 10 out of 10. And welcome in Poplar. Nice to see you, cutie. I think you were watching Moose already earlier, and he showcased these. So I guess for you, it's not that interesting. Now this is an interesting. Oh, are they actually qualifying as network? Are they qualifying as props? The heck? They are a network. I just did not hover them, correct? They only react when we. This is so interesting. This is so interesting. You guys realize what is happening here, right? Which makes sense because I guess they are built from a mix out of a network and a prop. But with only prop selected, we cannot delete it. With only network selected, we cannot delete those either. If we take both of them, there we go. Gone immediately. That is the first time ever I see an asset that needs to be ticked in multiple categories. Probably something you should mention in your description, just so you don't get loads of people asking you how to remove those. It does make sense, honestly, the way these are constructed. I actually understand why the game treats them the way it does, but I've just never seen that behavior before. So very curious. But yes, beautiful. Take your time finishing up with everything. Nothing is a rush. We all rather wait a bit longer and get something something flashed out, but very exciting. Like, wholeheartedly, these will be super cute. Is this a pass again? Oh, actually, this is just... game, just need to hit it correctly. But yes, very nice. You guys can all look forward to those, I think, sometime soon. I obviously cannot give any promises on how quick Joe is going to be with those. But sooner than later, I guess we'll be getting those very cute net lanes that I at least think is very nice. And otherwise, what I wanted today, I didn't think we'd spend that much time looking on those, but they were so beautiful that I had to. If there is anything else you want me to test, Joe, also gladly tell me so, and I'll go ahead and do so. If you're happy with what we looked at, then we're gonna go dive in, because we finished this cute hillside neighborhood with all of these mansions where we made the pools and the golf stuff for. What we have not really detailed out yet is this area down here. I started, it's not super much we have to do here, but a little at least. And then I'm gonna work my way forward through these. And then comes something where I am interested in what people think about it. I don't know what we're gonna do with these. Obviously, this is just thrown down fairly quickly. I do want to build a very full slum here. I always wanted to do this. This pack had a bit of issues at the start where he bundled EAA props in a wrong way. He went back and corrected these, so now they load without issue. I find them amazing. Probably not that interesting for most people, but they enable a whole different kind of vibe. And the truth is, our population is low, and I don't know why, but since the last patch, I am constantly losing population, even though I have been placing a lot of buildings. So we actually need to get some population in here as well, because we spent, I don't know, 10 hours maybe to build out this cute neighborhood. There is like 10 people living in this area. So this is not going to bring us any population numbers. It's going to bring us some beautiful neighborhood, but not more than that. So with that said, we will actually go ahead and build our way over there. I also started, I'm not sure how soon I'll get that out, but you guys know that I want a proper jail to throw in all of you horrible people in chat. If you disagree with me, jail immediately. If you blame me for something, jail immediately. If you critique anything about my build, immediately jail. You guys know how we deal with critics in Los Vagos. We ignore them and punish them for it. Obviously, it's better than learning. So we need a jail. I hate the jail we have in game, and I don't like any of the buildings we have available for it. So we will most likely go ahead again. I have so many different things I started lately that I'm not sure how soon I'll get to the jail, but I started blocking out a jail, which I think I pretty much exclusively do of vibe, because there is so little good image material of jails you can find. Because obviously jails are not open to the public, so can't really take great photos of them either. So I think I will probably go ahead and throw a jail together. Not sure how well I'll do at it, but we'll try. And maybe I'll finish the fast food things before or after, I'm not sure, but I'm trying to actually finish a bit more things and start less things. I say that and I tell you guys, I also just started the prison, but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to behave. It's not easy for me, but I'm trying to behave and make some progress. And again, Joe, big thanks to you as well for sharing all of the like netlane information you found. In some parts, I find this community a bit gatekeepy. And then there is other amazing people like Joe who spend a lot of time finding out something and immediately is willing to share and help other people with it. Very wholesome, very nice, big appreciated. And welcome in Data Knase as well. I think I already said it the last time. I'm really shitty at shout outs and I'm generally a bad Twitch streamer. So don't do as I do. But I found Data Knase, who's fairly new to streaming and has absolutely beautiful builds. And I think most of the people in my community know each other because I'm fairly small and unknown. But I don't think Data Knase is familiar to everybody. If you want to see a cute build that is a lot more urban than what we're doing here, you guys should check out Data Knase. I would do a shout out, but then again, I'm a shitty Twitch streamer, so it's gonna take me a moment. Obviously, there is many other people who would deserve an amazing shout out. For example, Joe, who's been sharing the amazing new net lanes with us. But I think most people know each other anyways. Good, good. The more nice and wholesome people we get in the community, the better. So that's exactly what I like to hear. And thanks a lot for the follow, Itako. I think I read that correctly. Much appreciated, mate, and welcome in. If you would like to get a bit of a show of my build, gladly scream so. Most of my regular viewers know my build fairly well, so I don't go around and show too much of it. But if you'd like to see a bit more, then gladly ask, and I'll give you a little tour. Otherwise, I'll just keep proceeding to detail this out here a little. Yeah, Data Knase has showed me in the first stream where I found him. He showed me his quarry, and his quarry is pretty much exclusively Joe's rocks. My quarry I built long before we had the editor, so my quarry could need an update, but to be honest, I'm still very proud of my query. I think even though I'd have a bit better tools now, it still aged quite well. And I'm not sure if Joe is still here, because Joe said he's just taking a break from doing taxes earlier. So maybe the man is back to taxes already. In case you're still here, have you played CS1 in the past? Because pardon my ignorance, I am still fairly new to cities and the community as a whole. So I don't know much about CS1 history. Are you a new CS2 player and new to asset making, or are you one of the legends of CS1? I'm sure other people in chat know this as well. I sadly don't, as I never really liked CS1. I liked watching CS1, but didn't do much. But I did not enjoy playing CS1. And I'm a bit paranoid lately. My internet has been a bit difficult lately, and I actually been dropping out quite a bit while streaming. So I I worry that is gonna happen again. I don't know what it was with CS1 that I didn't really warm up with it. I sometimes wonder as well, because I like CS2 so much, and there is so many CS1 players who still prefer CS1 over CS2. I think there is multiple reasons. One of the bigger ones is absolutely my fault, and it's that I think I had too little patience for the game back then. I think now I'm a bit older and bit more relaxed, so I don't mind taking a year for a simple, easy build and just grinding away at it. I think back then I was too impatient, but then I hated how the stuff I built looks when I'm impatient. And I think the even bigger part for me that always ruined CS1 for me a little is the roads. I just despised how building roads in CS1 was. Maybe that's just a me thing, but I've heard a few people agree with me in the past that they didn't like road building so much in CS2. And you could argue, well, that's just building roads. I would argue, yes, but it's a city builder. The thing I build the most is roads. It's like a racing game where the driving is not that great, right? So for me, that was absolutely enough reason to never really warm up with the game, I guess. It's not more or less than that. Like it's not like I think CS1 was a bad game. Not at all. Like I'm happy about anybody that enjoys CS1. I personally have not really warmed up with that. Yes, I mean I've watched CS1. I also played CS1, but I have like 30 or 35 hours locked in on CS1. In all fairness, I also never modded in CS1, and I tried CS1 very shortly after it's gotten released. And I did not start playing CS2 shortly after it's gotten released. And from everything I know, from what people told me, that probably has been very helpful for my enjoyment. I started playing roughly when we started getting all of the region packs. And I think at that point the game was in a lot better state than at launch. And that definitely helped me. And then also, I guess for many of you old CS1 players, since you use all of the mods and all of the amazing assets in CS1, and I'm the first to disagree that CS1 has beautiful assets and amazing tools, but I never used any of that, so I never had a feeling of, oh, I'd lost all of these amazing tools. I never had them to begin with. Nothing was lost for me. Meanwhile, if you played a lot of CS1, then I'm sure you feel a bit different about this, where there is like mods that you might think are important for the game that you never gotten proper access to in CS2. Maybe you will in future. Maybe it's gonna stay like that forever. I never played SimCity. I always feel a bit scared when I say this because I only stream city games, and probably my entire chat is like, "What the fuck? This is blasphemy." But yeah, I never played that. And Iktako, first thing first, I hope I don't absolutely butcher your name, and it's fine the way I pronounce it, otherwise gladly correct me. I agree with your point about animation. I think one of the nicest things about CS1 whenever I watch any CS1 gameplay is how alive that game looks compared to CS2. I think it's slowly been getting better and better. I do think we have quite a bit more movement happening nowadays. So I do think that change is already a positive. But yeah, there is a lot of room to grow. I mean, there is still quite a lot of people in my chat very regularly that to this day absolutely would say that I prefer CS1. And who am I to tell them they're wrong? I think you should just play whatever you find more fun personally. For me, that has always been CS2, but if you prefer CS1, then enjoy CS1 instead. If it's not broken anymore, I guess a lot of the CS1 players couldn't play lately because the last update broke the game till the mods are back fixed up. I'm curious, what other SimCity, Cities XL, what other city builders are popular in people in for my chat? I would expect probably Tropico is something people play as well. And I guess Anno probably as well. Maza is not here anymore, but Maza used to play a lot of City Skylines and used to make very cute builds. And then he kinda abandoned us for Anno. Ooh, interesting. I never tried Mano Lords. I have not tried any other game since I gotten Cities 2, to be honest, because I like it so much. But Banished, when Banished came out, I loved that game. Banished was such an amazing game. If anybody is wondering what kind of game is Banished, is also city builder-ish. It's not really a city builder, it's more of a survival game, but a survival game where you are basically building a city, but then have to survive through rough winters and conditions. Really fun. I really love those type of games. I'm a big fan of games where you don't win. It's just a question of how long it takes till you lose. I love RimWorld as well. It's probably the only game outside of cities that I would ever consider streaming on this channel. So if anybody has not played RimWorld, I always highly recommend RimWorld. It's the only game I have ever in my life backed on Kickstarter, because that game is goddamn amazing. I have not tried Farthest Frontier. I heard very good things about that, both Furthest Frontier as well as Manor Lords are two games that I don't think I ever heard anything bad about them. Everybody who's tried them seems to be very happy with those. I don't know, for me, it's always a bit weird with games. I already have too little game time for the games I like. I like Cities and I like Counter-Strike. And I already feel like I get to play them a lot less than I want to. So I'm never too hungry for trying out new games because it's just another game that I don't have enough time for, anyways. Which I mean, one could also absolutely argue just play a bit less City Skylines and then that wouldn't be your problem. But I don't think playing less City Skylines is a proper solution for anybody. In fact, everybody should always play more City Skylines. Yeah, for me, it's a bit of the thing where, yeah, again, like when I say I don't have time, obviously, I would have time. It's just me not making enough time. Also, I drawn this like shit. We don't want people to walk like that. This is not a level of perfection we strive for here. So, time to. I hate when this happens. Time to go back and yeet out this that we just drawn in, and I think we're gonna take two-way one lane instead. Don't actually want this to be double laned. This is a lot better. Okay, now we have nice people parking here. We already kinda detailed up this backside. I'm not saying don't go in this, but this bank is owned by El Gendo, who I'm sure everybody knows about El Gendo, absolute legend of the game. I don't know what he's doing in here, but I guess if you go into this store, you get free hugs and free candy. So probably one should walk in there. Surely nothing will go wrong if you go in there. I also really like Black and White as a kid. If you remember what that game is called, would you be so kind and post that in my Discord? Probably I won't play it either, and it's just another game I will tell people I would like to play, but I don't have enough time for. But who knows? Maybe I'll have time for it. Because yeah, Black and White is an amazing game. My big brother used to play Black and White when I was still fairly small, and I used to watch him, and sometimes I was also allowed to play. So nice nostalgia memories in there. Oh, wow, Elgando, Patreon is illegal. Behave, be careful. Also, guys, you know what Elgando said, and I'm surely what I'm saying now is not just copium and trying to peer pressure Elgando into something he has never said, but I want him to say. Elgando is gonna release a new surface pack soon. He's gonna make surfaces for the US because we don't have a proper US surface pack. But Elgando finally, he said he will make one. Probably he will say in chat that that's not true and I'm lying. But as you guys know, people in the internet don't lie. People in the internet only always say the truth. So clearly I'm not lying, and he's already working on it. It's true, Elgando. Don't try to pretend it's not true. I also didn't own it, but I was gladly able to try or to play it with my brother. Also, I never noticed this, but the nice gentleman has a bit of an issue in his UVs down here. Those bricks look a bit unhealthy. So even better that we put something in front of it so people don't have to see it anymore. Okay, see, again, we're not even disagreeing. With that, it's quite literally confirmed. Elgando will release new surfaces soon. You heard it here first. I'm also curious what that game is, because I don't think I've heard, but I'm also not very up to date with different games. I have not heard of anything similar to. Hold on, we can just use the J ones. But yeah, similar to Black and White, I don't think I've heard anything about that. Here we go, because obviously in the back here we need some proper dumpsters. One for the store in front, and then I guess we can add a second one here for El Gando's bank. And with that, I think, well, maybe a few people here and a few people here, but I don't think we need to do much here, to be honest. We already detailed this quite a bit. And I do want this to be very rural, not like a truck stop, but like a small commercial stop area. Obviously, Elgando, as the owner of the bank, has calculated this very well. This is the single richest neighborhood in the entirety of Los Vagos. Of course, Elgando went right ahead to
I
milk
wish
these
we
rich
had a
people.
cactus.
You don't have to wish to have a cactus anymore, Obelix. No more wishing for cactus. We have a cactus now. I'm just waiting to replace that Twitch redeem till Gaga actually finishes his cactus. But these are so beautiful already. Also, this one is slightly flying, so maybe we should fix that. But otherwise, really pretty. And I guess the redeem is not proper anymore. Also, maybe I actually have a
I wish
question.
we had a
Yes,
cactus.
have you not seen this, Poplar? I Gaga locked me in his cellar for 3 months, and I had to clean his dishes and
I
do
wish
other
we had a
horrible,
cactus.
unthinkable things for him. But obviously, a cactus was absolutely worth it, and Gaga locked me in his cellar for 3 months. I've just gotten released, and now we have a cactus. So there is slow progress. It's not released yet, and I know like Gaga is still working on it. It's not finished, so maybe you guys have to be a bit more patient, but sooner than later we will get a cactus. Look here. And I actually have a question about this. Has anybody used this asset before? Because I've been trying I love this asset. I think it's beautiful. I always was looking for better ways to make our electricity poles be a bit more sensible. Obviously, I would like my pole to connect to this side. I did not manage. I simply did you guys manage how to put the cables on the right side? Because no matter what I tried, even if I put the electricity on this side, it connects to the left side. So this looks a bit silly, I guess, because I bring it around and then connect to the back. I don't think it's too bad, but I was just wondering, because I'm sure, as with everything in this game, this is surely a skill issue and my own failure. I'm not saying this the asset in the slightest, but I'm wondering if some of you have used it, if you managed to connect them to the correct sides. Because if I could manage, I would obviously love to go over here from this side and then take this one to go there. Oh, he was at the
Place an
creator meetup, I
electricity
guess.
box.
And that's a redeem you never have to tell me twice. In fact, why is there no electricity box next to our electricity here? Obviously, there should be. So thank you for that redeem, Obelix.
I wish we had a cactus.
Well, I used to also wish we had a cactus, but we do have a cactus now. I guess you guys can still wish we have a cactus. And I'm gonna laugh at you guys and say, unfortunate for you not having. I totally have one. And I also have to give a shout out to. I have to admit, I don't remember the name. There is one person who makes all of these beautiful electricity poles. 10 out of 10. All of these are way prettier than the vanilla ones. Really, really nice. I've been trying to replace more old electricity. My by far favorite one is this one with three top ones and a single bottom one. It's so So old school. And yes, obviously you can, but I think I already did that. Yes, see, you don't even have to ask for a cactus at your house, because this is your house. And not only do you have a very nice pool party by now, but you also have a very nice big cactus here, and you have a nice cactus in the middle of your sofa area. So you're absolutely covered on cactus. You have multiple others in your house as well. I did make sure you're equipped properly, Data Knase Dome, because you said that you don't want neighbors when you bought this house. And I told you this is within people, but you're at the end of the road, so technically don't have neighbors. See, not only did we went in that last time and we put all of those signage to make very sure that nobody goes to your house because you don't like people, I assume. I also make sure that your mailboxes are out here. So not even the mailman will be brave enough to go close to your house. The only thing that is a bit incorrect is, I guess, in typical American fashion, there should be something saying that you shoot on site if people go onto your property. Because, I don't know, at least in my US memories, I've seen quite a bit of signage on places in the US where people tell you if you trespass, you will have a bullet in your chest, which seems awkwardly wholesome, maybe from a European perspective. I'm not saying that seems a bit escalating. Surely there is other ways to solve an issue like that, but yeah, see, also welcome in Kazgratik. I hope I pronounced that name appropriate. If not, excuse me, sir. But yes, I used to travel a lot in the US, right? A lot of my build here, while I'm German and don't actually have much clue about the US, is long faded childhood memories. And goddamn, in my childhood memories, I often, like, I found it very weird having grown up in Germany to see those kind of signs while you just have a normal walk. I remember once when I was like fairly little, my parents and me were, how's it called? We're doing some nice holidays in the US, and we were not in an Airbnb, but in a kind of holiday flat rented by somebody. And my dad managed to enter the code wrong for these automatic alarm emergency systems. And in Germany, that would be such a chill experience. Who cares? You enter the code wrong, the police will come, they will talk to you, and they leave. In the US, you have to fear for your life that they don't think you have a gun and make very sure that you cannot be misunderstood. There was not many situations in my life where I've seen my dad a bit afraid. I think that was one of the few situations where I've seen my dad a bit afraid when we knew the police is gonna come because we entered the code wrong. And yes, very cool truck indeed. I love these small trucks in general. I don't know. This is probably something. Again, I'm gonna butcher the name. You need to correct me if I do horrible, but Kasgratic or Sasgratic, not sure which of the two, or probably none of the two, might be able to confirm this as a US American person as well. Especially while driving through the countryside in the US. There was so many different places where people just have a buttload of used old broken down vehicles in their yard. But they're not a junkyard. Like, it's not an actual junkyard. It's literally just a private person into cars that has a lot of half broken, half functional cars in the garden. So Kasgratic, I guess, is correct. But for me, this is one of my biggest US memories, pretty much driving through the landscape and then passing places that are absolutely filled with broken down cars, and again, not only broken ones, also kind of shabby cars. I probably I should not ask you this because it's kind of doxing. If you think it's abstract enough so people cannot realize where it is, would you be willing to post a picture of that in my Discord? Because that's exactly the inspiration I need, and I don't know how to find something like that in Google Maps. Or even if you just have a Google Maps link for me, that would be super appreciated. Because again, for me, all of this is like 20 years, 25 years ago, faded away childhood memories. So I'm not too sure how well I'll be doing on this. So in case you have a good reference for me, I'd be very happy about it. But yes, I agree. Probably if you live there, you don't love if your neighbors are hoarding like that. Yeah, if you can do that, that would be super nice. You can find my Discord by either typing explanation mark in chat, or if you just look in the about page of my Twitch, it should show there as well. And I can only say this to everybody. I love looking at Google Maps. I'm really shit at looking at Google Maps myself. I feel like if I go on Google Maps, I only see boring things that are not very inspiring. I love looking at interesting places in Google Maps. So if anybody feels like sharing Google Maps stuff, please do so in my Discord. I'd always be happy about it. I think it's probably both. Like the way these gardens look, some of them are definitely hoarders. Actually, Kasgratik, you can give me a feedback because I built one other property like this already, and you can tell me how well I've done on it. This one, I would say, probably even is a mechanic, but this is kinda the vibe I mean, where you just have random cars everywhere in the garden. Quite literally something you would never see anywhere in Germany. From a car dealer, yes, but you would never see this in a personal property of anybody. Like, sure, a car dealer could look like this, especially if it's like a small, not that professional one. But that people have something like this on their own property is absolutely beyond me. But then in the US, I feel like I've seen that all the time, especially driving through rural countryside areas. So we're trying to get that same vibe in here. Because I want to transition a bit from this. We have this very expensive neighborhood here that obviously all of these people are horrible, corrupt government employees. Otherwise, you cannot be wealthy in Los Vagos. Eventually, we'll build a prison there. So the people from the prison will always have the view on the most beautiful and luxurious gardens in the city. So I guess they will suffer even more. And the horrible, corrupt government employees will have no more joy than seeing people suffer. So for them, it's the perfect view to look right on the people who they jailed for criticizing them. So honestly, absolute evil construction here, which surely has been an accident and not totally planned. And then I hope we manage to make a transition from this very expensive neighborhood fairly soon into very rural industry and like slumish area. I will see. This is good feedback because I would agree, and then we should try to do so better. First things is a good tip. The rubble piles we have should be some help for that. I guess we can even use some of the only concrete ones. But mainly, I guess we want to use the mixed ones. Again, I never have a plan of what I'm building beforehand, so I'm generally a very slow builder. So bear with me, need some patience here. But we're trying to turn this into something. Probably want to go ahead and remove quite a few of the blocks. Here, I want to keep a bit of free area, because for me, what makes these special or these places so special is that they have the combination out of residential and something that is very like business hustle or hoarder like. So I want to make sure that we have some space here to actually put some normal residential backyard in between all of this mess. Yes, please. Like gladly. Like I have in my Discord, there is a channel called Google Maps and Image Inspiration or something like that. Whenever you feel like anything is cool or fascinating or inspiring or funny, and then you come across it on Google Maps, gladly throw it in there. We can even look at it during the stream. I generally don't open my browser much during stream because my computer is very shit, and if we're unfortunate, we might crash. So if we don't look at something during stream, it's not because I'm not interested, it's just because I have a really bad computer. I mean, that's fine. You can also you can you whisper it to me or something? You don't need to post it in my Discord as all. Also, thanks for the follow, mate. But I don't, if you post it in the chat or tell me what to search for, I will not remember it. I have 2 brain cells and both of them are working on full capacity, and I will not be able to remember this after stream. Is the only reason why I ask people to post it in my Discord, because otherwise I'll wanna look at it, but I will forget about it. But of course, you don't have to at all, I understand. Especially Cities players are generally in too many Discords already. So only fair. Gaga buried me one of his 4 brain cells for a while, so we've been equals. But I think Gaga needs his brain cell, or Gaga wanted his brain cell back for the cactus, because the cactus seems a bit difficult. So, yes, please fund me a 3rd brain cell. I can need it. Also, I always have to point this out. I have no blame for the little power that's up there. When I was a kid, my mom dropped me an awful lot. So wholeheartedly, I'm innocent and suffering here. All compliance about me and myself, please direct them towards my dear mom. I have a few construction sites. Not one that is as nice as I would like it to be, but yes, I have a few kinda construction sites. Alright, I don't want the floor to be too perfect, but especially here in the area where the trucks drive in as well, we actually need some proper, not even cement, but some proper, like, pressed dirt, I guess. I don't know how to call this in English. In Germany, this has a name, but as usual, I struggle with vocabulary sometimes. Mm, well, you shouldn't only ask me, you should ask everybody in chat. Obviously, the vehicles, for me, I actually think some of the vehicles we have are really nice. One of the things that I personally would wish for, if we talk about construction, is if we look at something like this asset, which I think is a great asset. We have portable toilets, Gaga. Sir, don't you play this video game? But I want one where the shovel is up. I hate that all of these are in a flat position, like they're not working. I would love one where the shovel is pointing up. And same goes for the dump truck. I would love a dump truck that has the bad reason, right? Like it's trying to empty out the load. I would love to be able to put a dump truck here, for example, or somewhere in front. So for vehicles, I think that would be my main one. For props, but I guess you were mainly asking in regards of vehicles. For props, I would say the small cement mixer, not the cement mixer truck, but those small round cement drums, I guess you would call them in English, that spin around their own axis to mix the cement. That would be probably my choice. And I'm gonna have a quick break because there is an ad break starting in 30 seconds and I did not have a break yet. I'm only gonna run to the toilet and grab something to drink real quick, so shouldn't take long. And as always, when we're taking a break, I'm gonna send you cuties on a nice little UFO ride over our city. As always, when I show the UFO, I will release the UFO soon. Don't you guys worry. I'm waiting about an update to vehicle controller. Otherwise, the UFO can spawn in places where people might not want it to. And I don't want that to happen, so I'm waiting for that update. But as soon as the vehicle controller update is out, I will also upload the two UFOs. And I'm gonna think about your wishes for the construction site while I run to the toilet and take a quick break. I should be back with you in 2 or 3 minutes. So see you cuties in a moment. Hi cuties, I'm back. And I'm glad you liked the UFO tour. I am very happy with this. I think I've been working on quite a few different assets. The UFO will probably forever be my favorite one. Because I also absolutely love those UFO flyovers. I'm usually a bit sad because I'm generally missing the UFO flyovers because I run and take a quick break or run to the toilet. But I very much enjoy them when
I
I'm when
wish
I'm
we had a
here.
cactus.
Mono pickets, no more needing to wish. I said it before in my stream. Also, welcome in. You guys still have to wish for a cactus. I'm not wishing anymore. I have my perfect and cute cactus already, and I think it's beautiful. So soon we will all have a cactus. For now, only I have a cactus. Well, I guess and Gaga has a cactus because he made it. But very cool. I'm gonna guess. You the cactus oh, is how what is called. Because I only know it because of this. Gaga, I hate you. Is this why you had your I now after months Gaga in my Discord for months had this as a username, and I always was wondering why. I did not know how it's called. I think it's a Pachycerus pringelei, and that's the nickname that Gaga had for multiple months in my Discord without me getting why. I actually, Gaga, I hate you. I will tease you with. Now I have early access. Obviously, I cannot tell you anything, and I won't. But I will tease you, and I will return all of the pain. No, this is not a saguaro. Gaga will make a saguaro eventually as well. It isn't. It's a different kind. I can tell you because I know that Gaga did not mean to make a saguaro. I love saguaros the most as well because see, the reason why I built this build, and now comes a bit, I don't like to talk about personal stuff on stream much, so I rarely do, but it needs this for some context. When I was very small, 2 and 3 years old, my parents took a sabbatical, and in that sabbatical, my or actually it's not true. They took a sabbatical later. In the sabbatical, we bought a caravan and drove through the US for a year and seen a lot of the US and Canada and Mexico back when you could still safely and nicely travel in Mexico. And when I was a small kid, my mom, who used to be a teacher, did a teacher exchange in Arizona. So we moved to Arizona in a house of a teacher from Arizona, and a teacher from Arizona moved into our house for a year. And we had multiple saguaros in the front yard and on the terrace. I love them. For me, they are absolutely beautiful because even though I was small, I have some faded childhood memories from back then, which obviously was an amazing time because basically me and my dad were just traveling through the US while my mom was working at the school. And I want a proper saguaro as well. But no, this is not supposed to be one. As you can see, even the maker of this cactus is clarifying, because Gaga in chat, Gaga XM is the one that made that cactus. Also, I'm not sure if I said it or I didn't say it. Obviously, Kazgratic, thanks a lot for your follow as well. I'm not sure if I said so. I'm a bad streamer. I'm also a horrible person, but I'm actually thankful and happy if people follow me. I'm just also a really bad streamer, so I forget saying thank you, but not because I'm an unthankful piece of junk. It's just because I have two brain cells. But yes, appreciate it. You don't think Gaga will finish everything this soon? Gaga is taking months for everything, which I'm happy because everything Gaga does is also 10 out of 10 quality. So I rather wait a few months longer and get something really well made than something rushed out. But knowing Gaga is probably the 1st of April 2027 when the public release will get out. I did know neither of the. I do know that they get incredibly old, so that is unsurprising to me. But is that actually true, or is that like a myth that is every hour means 100 years? Because that's crazy. Yeah, I knew that they are very old, but I did not knew that they are that old. And I guess if they are that old and they take that long to grow, then yeah, absolutely valid that you need permission to remove them. Interesting. Very interesting side fact. Thanks, mate. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I didn't know that they get very old, but I did not know that you could see the age. Actually, you seem to know a lot about cacti, so maybe you have some good input. Because one of the things Gaga is unsure about so far is the colors. I think the colors is actually pretty good. I would like some variations, but Gaga is already working on that have more brown on them. Because I think, especially in the desert, you see some very dried out ones, right? That have a lot less color. And then, at least from my memories, and now again, my memories are long ago, so they might not be 100% correct. But I recall that a small cactus like this is a lot lighter and brighter. I would believe that this should be a bit lighter green. And then I think for the bigger ones, when they're older, the skin is getting a bit more dark. All right. Thanks for tuning in, Maestro, and have an absolute wonderful good night. I will answer to you tomorrow in peace when I thought a bit longer about what things I would wish for a construction site and message you about that more appropriate. But have a nice night and sweet dreams. Yeah, okay. See, you agree that the smaller ones are more vibrant, because that's exactly how I recall it, that the small ones are often fairly powerful in green, and then the old ones get a lot more
Bye. Have a
brownish, and
good
then
night.
exactly like you said, especially the more dry ones, they actually get brown and white as well. And one of the versions that I even have a few of those that we picked back then from the floor in my flat still, those skeletons of them, like the very old ones, are beautiful. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I often think about it because while I absolutely adored Arizona and its landscape and the way to travel from there, I am very outspoken about not being a fan of the US outside of their landscape. And yes, I would also not want to live somewhere where it's that hot all the time. If you're there in holidays, I think that's really nice and I can live with weather like that. But if that's my daily business, then God, please no. So I can very much agree with that. I remember that back then when I was living there with my parents, every time it started to rain, which happened like once every few months, we all were super happy and went out into the garden and into the rain because I don't know, seems weird to be so happy about rain till you never have any and then you will miss it. But yes, for me it's pretty much what Gaga is saying. I also find it incredibly beautiful, and I would love to travel there more, but would I like to live there? Absolutely not. Oh yeah, I think that's even worse, wholeheartedly. I think the dry heat in Arizona is also exhausting, but I personally at least can handle that a lot better than high humidity. If it's so humid outside and hot, then holy god, I'm dying. And again, what did you mean with a scaffolding? You say scaffolding question mark? I don't know what you're referring to. Oh, yeah, actually, you're right for Maestro. Yeah, scaffolding would be super nice to have, I agree. I mean, for me, I have to admit, while obviously I'm sweating like a pig if I get in hot weather like that because I'm not used to it. But I think in holidays I actually can handle that quite well. Like in holidays, I don't mind it if it's super hot. But if I imagine I have to work and live in temperatures than this entirely, that is where I start to cannot really or not being able to imagine it because that sounds horrific to me. I mean, sure, but I guess that very much depends on where you're from, right? Because I can only say, for example, my cute girlfriend grew up both in southern Spain and in Colombia. So for her, some landscapes are very boring. I think, for example, she finds desert boring. She is used to dry climate because it's very dry and hot in southern Spain, right? Meanwhile, for me, I have only my entire life always been around green. So I still love forests. I think forests are beautiful, but for me it's a lot more seen and more boring. So I actually find desert very weirdly fascinating, even though it's not a place I would want to live in personally. But yeah, I do think a lot of that is where you come from. Because for example, in cities, people always ask me why I don't build a German town. Because surely, as I'm German, I would be doing better at realism if I would build a German city. Truth is, I find that boring. I see Germany every day. I live in Germany. I don't wanna build a German city because that's my life already. I wanna have something interesting and different. And then I guess a small part of it also is that I consider the assets to be a lot better for US builds still. I know people disagree with me. I know that especially Moose, for example, always very much disagrees with me when I say this, as he is saying the exact opposite. And I get that. I do think that stems from you find stuff more fitting and acceptable if you know less about it, right? And I have an idea of the US, but I don't live there. I don't perfectly know if I hit the right vibe or not. So for me, even if I slightly miss something, it still feels right. Meanwhile, somebody who lives there will probably be like, nah, this does not fit well. This does not work out good. So I think maybe it stems from that. But I don't know. I could just not imagine to play a European build yet. Eventually, I'm sure I can, but it's gonna be a while for that. You couldn't agree more that EU is not ready, or you couldn't agree more that you prefer with what you know less. Because I said both. I'm not sure which of the two you agree with. And see, as a German, and now probably there is somebody from Stuttgart in my chat, and they're gonna be angry with you. I think Stuttgart is like the most boring and lame German city anybody can go in. I think the surroundings of Stuttgart are fairly nice. I think if you leave Stuttgart, then you can find interesting stuff. But Stuttgart itself, again, it's just my personal opinion. I find it very boring. And I generally like southern Germany a lot. I live in the very north of Germany, which I'm gonna say is the prettiest part of Germany, but that's just personal bias, I guess. But yeah, I think you just like it so much because it's so different for you. Baganario, can you post that in my? I keep asking people today, but I wholeheartedly keep doing so because I just love looking at Google Maps stuff and I never remember interesting places to look at. Could you post that in my Discord? Like literally just the area is good enough. Doesn't need to be any like specific point. I will move around myself, but just so I remember where to look for. Okay, interesting. Obviously, only say if you feel comfortable saying so. But if you feel comfortable, what kind of work do you do and what kind of company do you work for? If you don't want to answer, just ignore that I asked the question and don't give me any response. That's fine too. Thanks, Baganario. That is very cute of you. And are we starting? Obviously, this needs a lot of vegetation and like rough detailing otherwise. But purely looking at the rubble and the cars and such, is this starting to go into the right direction at least? Probably can do a bit more still and throw down a bit more stuff. But is the vibe generally somewhat correct? Ah, okay, interesting. And now, I'm not sure if Elgando is still here, maybe he isn't. We're gonna actually go back and yeet out these ugly vanilla barrels that I use, because I forgot that Elgando made such pretty ones for us. This is absolutely beautiful and perfect for the area we're working on, because Elgando made these rusty barrels, and he even made a random version I asked him for. So we can just go through and place random rusty barrels. And if they are not a perfect fit to these rusty vehicles and this rundown atmosphere here, I think I don't know what could be a better fit than this. And I'm gonna stop placing real quick and save the game because we just had a big stutter and I've not saved yet today. And I would be slightly tilted because you guys know I don't play with autosave. I don't like autosave. So rather save every once in a while so I don't tilt off Earth and rage quit the stream if we're crashing. And welcome in, Sunny. Nice to see you, cutie. Gonna keep going through. I don't want to use the flammable one so much. And I actually think this looks better. These look very nice together. This is even better, a little variation. But yes, welcome in, Sunny. Have you seen? I know it took me long enough, but I finally managed putting out at least some of the stuff I've been working on. But yes, I very much have to agree with Sunny. These barrels are beautiful. I think they just fit so well in specific to all of these junk assets from the San Francisco pack. Like, put this right next to each other. What a perfect fit. Like, fits right in there. So I can only agree. I'm probably overplacing a bit too many barrels, but then only so little industrial assets we have that I guess need to reuse some of them. There's been an absolute banger of PDX assets today. I have to admit I added some of them, but we spent so long earlier looking at Joe's future net lanes that I don't want to look at assets anymore. I actually want to at least manage to build a single garden today.
Bye, have a
But
great
there
time.
is some very nice things that came out today. And have a good night, Gaga. Thanks for tuning in as always, and even bigger thanks for the cute cactus you made for us. It is the single biggest thing that happened to Los Vagos since El Gendo made the dirty roads. It's an absolute enabler of our build, so very excited about it. And thinking about it, just because I love these passes so much, I guess the tank up here, if we can manage for this to not look entirely ridiculous, maybe should get a weird pass up there like this. I think that actually works pretty well. I do think generally it really makes sense if you can manage to go a bit in levels, just because it adds so much depth to your builds. Mm, hold on, let me. Oh, so now I understand your question. I'm gonna read what Kaz said in a moment as well. But what you're asking about Baganario is this, right? Red is when you give them an anarchy component, which only means stuff won't despawn. So if you brush them with red, that means they won't despawn. They are not elevation locked. So if I terraform something here, they can move in elevation. You can either turn the elevation lock on, obviously, need to be a prop. If you do so here, the transform block, I guess it got recalled or renamed a while ago. This is what you are doing when you brush in purple, because this button here is exactly the same. It's a transform lock. So it just depends. If you turn this on, you brush both of them. All of mine, I always have the transform block on, right? So I don't need to brush over something with the transform block because it has it already. And I don't want these rocks, for example. These were placed here before. That's not me. I don't want these to have transform block because if I terraform or something, I want them to keep moving normally. So I generally never brush with that one. But that depends. If you don't have that place from the get-go, then maybe you wanna brush with transform block. But as you see, I basically everything I place with transform block. Because sure, there can be very few situations in which I think it makes sense to have transform lock off. The biggest one is if you want something to become terrain transformed, right? If you place something. Do I have a good example for something? I'm bad at the game, but some things I know, so maybe I can teach you guys something for once. If I can find a good asset for it. I guess even with one of these, I can show what I want to show. If we would want these to line up perfectly, and we go into terrain somewhere like here, obviously they will not line up perfectly, right? If I do this, we have transform lock on. This will be really annoying for me to fix manually. There is a really good tip how you can get this to be proper, a lot smoother. See, we turned transformation lock off. I'm going to turn it back on just so I don't forget for the future. And now if you go into a terraforming brush and you take this one, the soften terrain tool, and you put some smaller size, and now you put this very weak. You basically don't even want to change the terrain. You just want to change the thingy. And if you press on here, you see the terrain changed slightly. Nothing happened to the pots. If I do the same here, you see what just happened, right? These all now gotten flat to the terrain, which is not something you need in many situations, but for that is the only situation where I turn off the transform lock. Otherwise, I don't see any situation in which I would want it to be off. And now let me catch back up quick. There is no such thing as too many barrels in rural America. Okay, I like that because probably I'm a bit overly cautious with things like that. In the end, I have to admit with something like that, I don't think realism matters too much anyways. I mainly think it matters if you hit the right feeling or vibe in these kind of things. So as long as we transport the right feeling, I'm perfectly happy anyways. It needs to look realistic, not be realistic. I guess that sounds silly, but wholeheartedly, that's how I feel about these things. It just needs to trick you enough that you believe this looks realistic, and then if it actually is realistic, nobody cares. In fact, I would argue often realism makes your build more boring, because real life is kind of boring, at least sometimes. 10 kilometers of urban sprawl is not going to make any city's build more interesting. Just my opinion. I'm sure other people would disagree, but I would say condense everything, shrink everything in scale, make everything tight and full and interesting. What is a toboggan? I don't even know what that is. I actually don't know what that is. Everybody feel free to make fun of me in chat for being silly, because obviously I am and I should know what that is. But I'm not English, so I'm not sure. I I am fairly sure that we'll get proper water slides eventually. I have not. I've heard of that movie and I know it's very popular, but I have not seen it personally. So sadly, that is of no help. But yes, I guess it's something water slide like. If so, I agree that would indeed be a great fit for Los Vagos. I've seen that. I wasn't sure in which Discord I've seen it, so I wasn't sure if I'm allowed to say so. But yes, I've seen so as well, and I'm fairly sure Maybe Sully is gonna disagree with me, but I know that Sully had water slides in CS1, and I'm fairly sure that he will wanna give them a comeback in CS2 as well. So I would imagine that sooner or later Sully would also drop a water slide pack. Oh, it's like a water coaster then. It's like a roller coaster in water. If so, of course, I love those. They are great. And I wanna, just because it's gonna make a lot of difference, also go ahead and bring a little bit of ground vegetation across already. Just so this is not as isolated. Have you played with that? I've seen the trailer and it looked absolutely amazing, but then again, I never really liked this one. So for me, it did nothing besides making me very jealous because everything I've seen of it was very cool. But I have to admit, I've only seen what they showed in the trailer. I've not seen anything outside of that. No actual gameplay yet. How well does it work out in practice? Because it seems like a really cool mod, but also seems like a mod that actually potentially could break stuff in your city. These four as well. Sorry, boring, but I don't like flying rocks, so wanted to fix that fix. And these as well. Okay, there we go. But yes, I also have to admit I'm in no worries about assets in CS2. I might feel a bit different about it than others. But I do think one of the reasons why we've seen so little assets at the start is just because people need to learn the editor. It's not super difficult to make assets for this game, otherwise I wouldn't manage to do so. But it's pretty tedious and you actually have to like get familiar with the process and set up your proper pipeline for it and such. So for anybody who did not have early access when the editor came out, they just need a while to learn how everything works. And I'm sure the more our community together shares knowledge and tricks and the more proper documentation for different things we get, the better it's also gonna get asset wise. But yes, you talking about water slides and roller coasters and such. Maybe I should wait. Holy goddamn frame. Sorry, we have not looked at this side of the city in a long time. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is this. It's probably gonna be a long time because I'm such a slow builder till we reach this. But eventually, I'm really looking forward to building a nice theme park out here. Also, something that for me is really American. Not only theme park, but also eventually, but for that, we actually need more proper assets, is more like a water park. That's not really a thing in Germany, but in the US, I've been in multiple water parks where is nothing but a quadrillion different water slides and pools and such. That's also something I would like to have in Los Vagos eventually. Not in the yes and no, not in the same regard. We do have nice outdoor swimming pools, but they usually have like a single water slide or something, if at all. And generally, we just don't have the weather, right? Like Germany is hot enough for something like a water park, maybe in a good year, 3 months a year. In a bad year, maybe a single month in a year. It just does not make financial sense to have something like a water park here. It's the same as with a pool, like something like these pools outside that we see here. I think this is super typical in the US or in Spain or Italy or anywhere where it's warm enough. In Germany, people that have a pool, they are millionaires. That's not something anybody has themselves. And if so, it's more likely to be inside. Just because outside you can use it so rarely, unless you heat it, and then that's really power hungry and expensive. So I guess that's something that really only rich people have, and then even they mainly have it inside because it makes a lot more sense because you can use it more. So yeah, no, we don't really have at least a water park I think about when I say water park. I know that as a kid I've been in Cincinnati and I did a like exchange over there. And the host family that I was with, they took me to a water park, and I've never seen something like that before. It was water slides and water rides everywhere, so many of them. I have never seen anything similar. We do have stuff like that in Germany, but inside, right? Like we have gigantic water parks. I think we, for example, have the biggest indoor water park. So you can have the same, but not outside. And everything inside, I think, is very boring to build in cities because realistically, people cannot see it because it's inside. So, not that much point in it, I would argue. Okay, and cause we have cactus, of course, we need some cactus. And then probably can do some small stuff still to make this a bit cuter. But generally, I do think, yeah, this I already told Gaga in one of the versions, he mixed up one of the LODs. But otherwise, I think this yard is starting to look alright. Definitely, if they want to do some surface and decal work and play some sims there. But otherwise, I think this turned out kind of cute. Very slow. I thought we're gonna actually make more progress and start diving into these. Because I'm not sure if you're still here, Sunny, but I know you ask about these, if they are safe and fine to use. They did throw an error at the start when the guy released them, because he compiled some EIA assets into them incorrectly. And he fixed that. I think it's still marked as broken in Skype, but at least from everything I can judge, it's a perfectly fine asset by now. And I will use those, so you can wait a week or two, and if Los Vagos is still alive, then I would tell you you should be able to use those as well. If not, then we're gonna rebuild whatever we're doing today and in the next stream. And I don't feel like rebuilding anytime soon. I don't mind it so much, but we actually had to rebuild quite a bit. Because as some of you are aware at least, tree controller age or growth disabling, I don't even know how you'd call that, but the setting to disable tree growth of tree controller was bugged in the last version. And I realized that roughly a month after the update, and then I had overgrown plants everywhere and needed to actually either fix my vegetation manually, which would have taken a lot longer, or throw away a month of building. And in that month, I played like 2 or 3 times, so it was an easy choice to throw away what we built. And the surface is definitely too strong. Is this the one I wanted?
Bye, have a great time.
Aye, goodbye, Algando, and thanks for tuning in. As always, have a nice night. You too, enjoy your night, Elgando, and thanks for tuning in. You're not gonna miss much. It's shortly before midnight here. So, beside finishing up this garden, and maybe looking a little bit in there, because I want to show people a new feature that I'm sure not everybody is familiar with yet. I don't think I'll do much anymore today either. One of the things I want to do here is definitely get a bit more residential stuff in here, just to make this feel a bit more chaotic and homely. Yeah, no worries. Thanks so much again for tuning in, and thanks for all of the interesting fun facts and lessons about the US. Very appreciated. So, thanks, mate, and have a nice night. And I guess same goes for you, Obelix. Wish both of you a fabulous night, and thanks for
Bye, have a
tuning
great
in. Bye
time.
bye, cuties. I hope so, but I have to admit, I don't stream off a schedule, so depending on how much I have to do, it might not be that easy to catch me. But I'll try my best as well and appreciate it, time mate. Here does not really make sense. I guess I should also go back here. They were actually not bad to bring a bit of level in there. That suddenly looks a lot more residential than before. Data Knaza, I'm curious, in the mining area where you use the cliff so much, do you feel any performance impact of them? Do you feel like you have less performance once you move into that area? Because I think I've seen a few people use them quite a bit, but nobody to use them as much as you do. And I know that Joe is pretty good at optimizing his stuff, but they are just so enormous in size that I would imagine if you use a lot of those that you probably feel it. And especially I have to be more careful with these kind of things because my computer is pretty shit and my game already is struggling enough, which is not the game's fault, absolutely my fault due to me absolutely over modding my game. But regardless. Oh, you have 600. You actually have more than me then. I do have like 10,000 local assets that I guess I don't usually count, but my mod list is at 500, which I already consider way too much, to be honest. And the big question with mod, at least for me, is always what kind of mods, because I think if you use only visual mod, 600 mods can be fine. I personally don't use any simulation mods. I don't. I find the simulation in this game too fragile to be brave enough to mess with it. So whenever I say I use a lot of mods, I absolutely need to clarify that a lot of mods, in my case, means only visual mods, at least outside of realistic parking. I guess realistic parking is technically a simulation mod. So I do use realistic parking, but outside of that, no simulation mod. I just don't trust simulation mods. I mean, because then it really depends. I think some mods are fairly light. I noticed how big of the input my local stuff is a few days ago, because while testing asset stuff that I was making, I generally disable all of my local stuff. And I loaded back in on my main playset and forgot to disable my local things. My game loads incredibly quickly if I disable my streaming data stuff. Really, that's so curious because I've heard other people say they feel sunglasses. Maybe I should try it because when I use it the first time, I never felt any difference. But my game is struggling a bit more with performance, and I really like sunglasses. But if I can gain some performance without it, maybe I should try disabling it and give it a shot without as well. And wholeheartedly, I think this works perfectly fine. Wanna go in and play some Sims still? But vibe-wise, I think this works super solid. This small rural single row house here. And then you have all of these, like, this small rural center and then the railroad crossing here. I think this is coming together really well. Obviously, as it's my build, no place cannot have graffiti unless there is a good reason for it. So we'll quickly go in and place a little graffiti here, and then we place some people, and then I think I consider this part fully done. I basically use vanilla settings, to be honest. It's funny because sometimes people come in and tell me, oh, your game looks so beautiful. What are your settings? I don't really have settings, to be honest. My game is pretty much vanilla. The one thing I use is preserve photo mode, and I generally play quite a bit with the time of the day because I think that's incredibly impactful, right? Depending on the light, I think your game can look really beautiful or really flat. But otherwise, I'm pretty much entirely default outside of using sunglasses, but I don't use Lumina or anything. And I do use fog. Especially when I take screenshots, I also like to push the fog up. Generally, I'm too lazy to do that, but yes, I do think fog looks very pretty in this game. Yeah, now comes the big kicker. Pikana, your honor, also welcome in. Nice to see you. But you're probably on an Nvidia card, right? I would guess at least. Because I tried lossless scaling not that long ago as well. And I didn't hate it. It was alright, but it just looks worse on my. I'm on a very budget AMD card. Oh, you're also an AMD. Hmm. What card? You're probably like 5 generations newer and like 5 versions more powerful than me. Because I have a 6700 XT, which was a budget entry level GPU maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So not very difficult to have a more powerful rig than I do. Yeah, I mean, the 7900 XT is a beast, at least compared to what I'm playing on. So yeah, that your performance a lot better than mine. I am not surprised by the slightest. Your GPU has cost as much money as my entire computer. To put everything here in context, lossless scaling is a software solution to basically what your graphics card does. It outputs at a lower resolution. I don't know if you play full HD, it renders a bit below full HD, so it has less to calculate, and then it upscales the images instead. So it uses some kind of digital upscaling afterwards. And in the past, that has not been that great. It has been getting better and better in recent months, especially, or in recent years, I should say, especially if you don't care about input lag. So in a like competitive game, anything where you really care about performance, I would say don't. While you can gain some frames, you also gain input lag. But for something like cities is exactly the right example where to use it for. And the question is, because there is multiple solutions, there is some software third-party solutions, even on Steam, or there is AMD and NVIDIA solutions for upscaling. I'd be interested which of the two Picana tried, because I assume Picana means the in-game upscaling, which then is the native AMD upscaling. Oh, so you tried the Steam one then, correct? Because yes, the Steam one is some kind of standalone DLSS pretty much. I have never tried that. I actually, so then we meant something different. I assumed you mean the actual AMD solution. And I tried that. I did not like it so much, but I've never tried the Steam lossless. Oh, okay. Interesting. Maybe I should give that a shot as well. I mean, let's see. I am honestly happy with 30 FPS, and I play only in full HD, which I'm sure you play in 2K or maybe even 4K. So you probably need a lot more juice than me. But as long as I hit 30 FPS while streaming, I'm happy. Right now, I don't always hit 30 FPS while streaming, so could be better. But then also, we just got an announcement that they will look into performance things. So who knows? Maybe soon I'm back to 30 FPS. Because I'm not that far off of 30 FPS. In fact, in areas like these, we are perfectly fine at 30 FPS. But then if I move into all of this back there, then I will not be at 30 FPS anymore. Yeah, I'm also struggling to hit 30, especially in more central areas of my build. I don't hit 30. It's as easy as that. I drop down to sometimes 20 or even 15. But I also have to admit, I think, at least surprisingly, in stream, that's often a bit less visible than on my stream. You guys please disagree if I'm saying nonsense. But whenever I endure to watch a little of a VOD of mine, I don't know how you guys can do it. My voice makes me angry and tilted and embarrassed after like 2 minutes of watching my VOD. But the image quality always seems okay. Not great, but at least okay on my VODs for me. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me, and then maybe I should look into that. But At least for my feeling, when I tried to check it, but it seemed fine. But yeah, great tip, Picana. I'm probably gonna check that out as well. But who knows? Again, we just got in the news that the next patch is gonna touch on performance, so maybe soon you will hit 30 FPS even in vanilla again. Surely not copium, but who knows? Welcome in, Shugs. I like it. That's very nice to hear. And I do see that I realized too late, there is an ad break coming in 10 seconds, so I'm gonna be back for you cuties in a moment and react to you properly, Shocks. But I'm gonna run real quick to the toilet and grab something to drink while the ad break is running, while you guys are on a quick helicopter or UFO ride, I should say. And then as soon as I'm back, I'm gonna answer properly, Shoxy. But welcome in. And I should be back with you cuties in 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. So soon. I really want to respond to your population in a moment, and I want to hear more about that. So again, I'm gonna run to the toilet real quick, and then I'll be back. So BRB, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Hi cuties, I'm back. Let me catch up on chat real quick. I'm gonna let you guys fly around with the UFO in the meanwhile. What do you mean your population grows? Your total population went from 10k to 55k? Because the FPS drop seems extreme, but then I guess, yes, depending on if you're CPU limited or not, just having a lot more people in your game will make a pretty big difference, I guess. Hmm. Yeah, very interesting. For me, actually, I think performance gotten slightly better in the last upgrade. For me, performance has been generally worse since Bridges and Ports. Like when they first introduced a shopping bug is when my performance gotten quite a lot worse. And then when they fixed the shopping bug, it's gotten a bit better again. But it's never gotten as good as it was prior. So I definitely also have less performance than I used to. And I don't have a very good computer, so not likewise, sadly. But yeah, weird that you have so much growth. For me, it's quite opposite. I've been losing population pretty constantly, even though I have been building housing. But I had that happen once in the past, and it felt like it was just a long delayed household size balance from some patches. So I'm not too worried about it, because the last time I was very worried, and then everything turned out to be fine afterwards. So this time I'm trying to just be optimistic that everything is gonna solve themselves. But yeah, I've been bleeding out population, even though I'm building residential homes more than ever. And yes, Shooks, I will release a UFO. The reason I've not done so yet is because vehicle controller used to be able to allow you to change your helicopter prefabs, and all of my UFOs are helicopters. And I'm waiting for an update to vehicle controller to reintroduce that functionality. Because if that functionality is not in the game, it means you guys might randomly get UFOs flying where you don't want them to be. So I don't feel like I should release the UFOs before vehicle controller gotten that upgrade. So as soon as it gets that upgrade, I will, or that update, I will upload. Till I have to wait with it. And I don't know when that will be. I'm not in any hurry. I'll just let Conscient work at whatever his speed. Might be in a few days, might be in a few months. We will find out. And I'm glad you tried the pools. How are you liking them? Because there definitely is things wrong with my pools. I don't love the water shader. But again, I said this in Moose stream earlier. I decided it's not my duty to fix the water shader and work around it. I decided I'm just gonna use it, and hopefully it forces ice flakes to eventually rework with them. I think they work fine, right? But my issue with the water shader is a very simple one, and it's we have no option to adjust anything. And in specific angles, you guys can see my water is fairly wobbly, which I don't love, but it's just the way the water shader is. I have to admit I'm making it a bit worse because I'm scaling the water a bit different, but I think it's better than the vanilla solution. Because the vanilla solution, if we put the water of the vanilla pools next to it, it's very rough. It's too wavy, in my opinion. So I really dislike that. And the only way how we can get it to be a bit less wavy is if we get more current in there, because I'm basically taking the same water that is in these, but I'm making it bigger. So mine is a lot more flat, right? Because I don't know, no pool looks like this. It looks like the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I really I hate this. I don't know why this is the water shader. I actually think this looks really good. I need to clarify when I say I hate this. I think this water shader looks great. I just think it's not okay that this is the only one we have. Because this is really good for some things where you use water. But then we would also need a more plain one, right? That's very subtle and flat. And preferably, we'd also need some in different colors, one that is more transparent. Because obviously, we could just go ahead and use the Elgando water surfaces that are very pretty. The reason I want to use a water shader is both because I want them to revisit the water shader and hopefully make it better in future. And if you use a surface, you don't get a depth, right? In mine, you can see actually inside of the pool and can see stuff. If you use a water or the water surface of Elgando, you're losing that depth. But if you prefer it over the weird wobbly water, that absolutely is your choice. That's a very easy thing to change. You just take any of the Elgando water surfaces. And yes, we have a surface over here, but if we take a pool that is not covered by, well, I'm gonna do it somewhere so I don't ruin something. But just in case, if you guys don't like the water that comes with my pools, which I could understand, you can just replace it. You can just take an Elgando surface. Uppsala, here, I don't know, maybe this one. And you use area bucket and you replace it. And then you don't see the water shader anymore, but you see this one instead. I think the water is prettier. I think again those water surfaces are prettier than the water shader, but you use the depth. And I think if everybody just uses the water surfaces instead of the actual water shader, they will probably never go back and change the water shader. So I decided I'm gonna use it, even though I don't love it. But just wanted to show this in case anybody feels like they don't like the water shader. There is an easy way around that. And otherwise, I think we're pretty much done here. This is so rural, I actually don't want more people. Maybe I change some small things, but I am quite happy with this. I think we made a cute build today. Very small build, because I was looking at many different things and yapping all the time, as usually. But at least another cute garden, and I think this entire area of the city is starting to look really, really cute. I don't know. I had no idea what we're gonna build here in Los Vagos. This is a lot different than what I imagined in the past, so I'm wholeheartedly happy about it. Because yeah, we've been building this forever, and I'm wholeheartedly happy with how this turned out. The thing we're gonna dive into the next time is this, because I really want to build some kind of slum up here. Before I end the stream, I want to teach you guys something and show you guys something, because there's been a mod that came out a while ago already that is way under-subbed and way too unknown for how powerful it is. And it's ABC, Advanced Building Manager, I think. Advanced Building Controller, obviously. ABC cannot be manager. But yes, Advanced Building Controller or control. It adds this thing here and multiple really powerful things that it can do. And I'm gonna go ahead and show multiple of them. One of the things, and I think for me this is the biggest game changer and the reason why I wanna shout this out, because StarQ's mods in general are amazing. I think this is the best StarQ mod in a long time in terms of how enabling it is for the game. So what you can do at least the best thing, in my opinion, is this. You can take any custom asset and turn it into a ploppable. This is now non-functional anymore. It's just a mesh. It's like the static ploppables of the region packs and anything we had in the past, which means we finally have freedom. For example, in this area here, because I want this to be really slummy and full. Obviously, these will not be able to be functional anymore, but we will totally go ahead and build in terrain here. This is not something we could have done without StarQ mod at all. So 10 out of 10. Absolutely amazing. This works for any building, no matter what custom building, even vanilla building, you can do it for anybody. But for the vanilla ones, you don't need to because we have the ploppables anyways. But for the custom ones, it's a game changer because at least for me, one of the problems with the custom assets always was I want to use them. I think they're beautiful, but I have less flexibility with them than I have with anything vanilla or region pack or creator pack because I have ploppables for those things. Now we have ploppables for everything. So amazing mod. If you don't use it yet, definitely check it out. There is other great things that it can do. Let's take another example. Let's go somewhere where we don't care about and have a little bit of terrain. Here, for example. And you guys know the default terraforming of a building. You put it down and it terraforms. This will not change massively because the base of a building will always terraform. Nothing you can do about it. But here, the entire area of this building is terraforming. This is not a very bad example. If it has a bigger property, this would be a lot more extreme. So probably we should have done a different building to show this. But this is also really nice. You can do many different things. Is this the right one? It should be the right one. Oh yeah, terraforming. I'm blind actually. And what you can do here, and it is on already because we copied it from a building that had it on, which is very interesting. I did not know that even the copy keeps it. But you see, now it terraforms a lot deeper because it was already turned off. Now it terraforms the entire property. You see how the entire floor is flat? This allows you to turn off the terraforming. As I said, the base of the building will still terraform. No way around that. It's unavoidable. But it turns off the terraforming for the property. And in some buildings, they have really big properties. A good example, for example, would be UK detached, I think, is a really good example because they terraform a lot wider than they should. So yes, this is a great example because these, for some reason, they terraform even around their borders. Now we go in and we turn this off. Obviously, here it messes a bit with the wall, right? So yes, use with caution. This can also break something. But this would not be very difficult to fix. It's literally just this small part that's a bit broken. Otherwise, 10 out of 10. Suddenly, you can build in terrain, and this is functional. This is not a ploppable, right? This is still a perfectly functional building. Really, really nice. And then it also can do loads of other things where you can change values about the upkeep, you can change the level, you can change the brand in it, you can see the maintenance of the buildings, loads of other important features. My two by far favorite ones are the static ploppable builder and the terraforming disable. And together with these two features, it's gonna be really nice to build in terrain. And you guys know I love building in terrain, so obviously absolutely amazing mod, especially for what I want to do here. It will come in absolute clutch. Like 10 out of 10, amazing, really helpful. And with that, I think I'm gonna send you guys on maybe for once not a UFO ride, but a quick road trip while I look for somebody to raid, because it's getting quite late here and I will have to head to bed. But I did really want to show that to you guys real quick. Hold on. I forgot about it. When we have a road trip, we want to change our simulation to half speed, else it looks silly and too fast. Now this should be fine. Now you guys can enjoy your road trip. I will really quickly hop on Twitch and see if anybody is streaming, unless maybe Shocks. Do you feel like streaming right now? I'm gonna load into the game right now, then I can stream 10 minutes more to wait for you. Or maybe Data Knaze as well, if you're still here. Otherwise, I will have a look at Twitch real quick. But if anybody of you is gonna stream, then I can just send people over there as well. But yes, that mod, I think the last time I checked, it had something like 4,000 subscribers and is the best mod we had in a long time. So absolutely criminally underappreciated. That's why I should point it out and had to point it out. And of course, mate, glad to see you. Oh, Muzi is still streaming. Then easy choice, of course. I'm gonna send you cuties over to Moose, which all of you guys know anyways. No need to shout out or anything. Moose is an amazing streamer, and I'm sure you guys will have a nice time over there. And as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in and spending time with me. And all of you cuties have a wonderful good night and a nice evening. And again, thanks for tuning in and enjoy your time over at Musi. And I hope see you soon. I'm not sure how soon I'll manage to stream again. I'm out of town or with my miss over the weekend and the start of the next week. Maybe I'll manage to stream once more this week. Otherwise, I'll see you cuties next week. And with that, have a nice night. Bye bye.